Who else can we call on? I want to see some people here. So let's go to Joel. Let's go to Joel.
Hello.
Hey man, how are you doing?
Just fine.
Perfect. So tell us what did you really get out of the program, and is there a specific example of a person that you really felt like using the resources of the 4 stages of coaching, working with them, giving them the knowledge, removing the leashes? Is there something that some example or experience that stands out that you really say, yeah, this is a mark, this is an anchored experience that I can really say this made a difference in my life and their life?
Yeah, I would say, just identifying the leashes and just once those are identified, just taking the time and walking through and getting with those salespeople, and bringing it to their forefront so they understand that, number one, that is a leash, because I think that's the biggest part is most of them don't realize that those particular issues are what's holding them back. A real good example of that is I was on a ride along with one of my salesmen, and he just happened to pick up the phone and was giving the customer some expectations that were not realistic. And I'm sitting there listening to the conversation. And in that moment, we just kind of took that time after he hung up with the customer to discuss, what that conversation was about and how it should have went because of him setting up the unrealistic expectations. This particular one was a trust delivery. He told him that, yeah, getting it to him in 2 weeks was not an issue. At that point in time, we were over 3 weeks out on that. And I said, he didn't even ask you, or tell you that he needed it in the 2 weeks. He just asked when he could have it. And you told him 2 weeks. And you know darn well that, we're at 3 weeks at this point in time. And I'm like, so you've set up an unrealistic expectation in that. And I said, and now you're going to have to try to push everything through our system to make that happen so you don't fail in the eyes of your customer. But even if you would, and you would fail, it was failure based off of unrealistic expectations that you set. And I think that was kind of the aha moment where it sunk into him that he was the one that was driving those unrealistic expectations for the customer. And since then, he has been more forthcoming and trying to fit the customers into our process, educating them on what our lead times are. And since then, his sales have smoothed out and it hasn't been, as bumpy going through the process.
What a great story that is. Was he someone that that had came to you in the past for help, or was this a kind of a turning point that you were able to jump in and now he sees you differently?
Yeah, no, he's come to me in the past for help, and we sit down and we've actually coached through several leashes of his, but this was always the toughest one because he's always trying to push things through our process, and I keep trying to drive our process. Yes, it's okay to sell, but if you're hurting everybody that's behind you, supporting you, that are supporting that process, then it does no good for anybody. And that was kind of the aha moment where he understood that how important that process was to his entire sales strategy.
That's awesome. And so, Joel, have you noticed now that because of that kind of defining moment where you were able to dial him in more, give him some specific knowledge, a strategy to make him more efficient and effective, to remove a leash that he had? It sounds like you improved his self-image, his confidence. Is he coming to you even more now for advice?
He does. He comes to me quite a bit, and unfortunately, this particular one has several leashes, so we're trying to work through most of them. But I think that was really his aha moment as far as the process goes and how his sales technique was affecting everybody behind him that supported him.
Perfect. So I want everyone to hear this because what Joel has experienced and noticed, and I'm very confident that each of you have a moment just like this, if not many moments like this, is that the difference between managing and coaching is that when you manage someone, they want to avoid you like the plague. They want to put the coronavirus mask on and go, I'm not shaking anyone's hands, I don't want to be a part of it. And they see you like that. You're no value to them. But all of a sudden, when you become a coach and you see more than they see in themselves, and you start to unleash them and you give them these additional resources, you change their mindset, you expand their view of possibilities, what you notice is that now you're not having to chase them down, they're having to chase you down. And that's the shift in thinking I want you guys to get. Is a great KPI going forward for you to measure is how many of my salespeople are coming to me on a weekly basis asking for some sort of coaching session, some sort of bit of knowledge to, hey, I need to see this differently. Can you help me with this? Not, hey, manager, can you make my life easier by getting corporate to approve such and such? I need a better concession. I need better marketing. I need a different product line. I need, operations to get this order fulfilled faster. That's making their life easier. That's what managers do. That's what heroes do. But the shift you guys have all noticed is to go from a hero to a coach is my job is not to make your life easier. My job is to make you better by giving you additional resources, by giving you internal resources, not external, internal resources to change your view of possibilities. And that's what you did for him, Joel. So that's what you need to mark as a moment in your life and say, you know what, that's my new way to define my level of success. Is you now have one, you probably have more, but now your goal is how many of my people, that's your new conversion rate. How many people do you have, Joel, on your team?
10.
Okay. So that's your new conversion rate. Is out of the 10 every week, out of the 10 people I have, how many of them every week come to me asking, hey, Joel, how can I be better? Not, Joel, how can you make my life easier?
Right.
That's your new conversion rate. That's your new KPI. That's your new success rate. And when you focus on that, the score takes care of itself. Profitability goes up, revenue goes up, retention goes up, turnover goes down. Everything improves. That's the simple answer. It's hard. It's hard. But it's simple, right?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Joel.